rise and shout. It is time for What's Trending.
Puka may go all the way. A touchdown, Puka.
What's Trending, presented by Bodyguards, protection for a life worth living. Learn more at bodyguards.com. Without question, Puka Nacua, a very special player, an NFL talent. We are looking at his career numbers today and projecting what we think he's going to do over the next 2 games and maybe next year, as we discuss the Mount Rushmore of BYU football wide receivers. Jarom, what does Puka Nacua need to do in the final 2 games against Stanford and a bowl game to be included in BYU's wide receiver Mount Rushmore?
Look, Puka's awesome. I'll get to that in a second. But in terms of who's on the Mount Rushmore, he's not on it for me. And a lot of that has to do with, not being here for 3 or 4 years. Obviously went to Washington, eventually comes around to BYU, which is awesome. Not being healthy. And, I'm awarding my Mount Rushmore award sustainability.
Ah, yes.
3+ years here. Doing it over time.
Not being injured?
Singular seasons, yeah, whether that's up to you or not, it's part of the conversation, right? Sometimes it happens to you. Sometimes you get hurt or whatever.
Yeah.
Puka's awesome. Well, let's just attack Puka right now. He's got 7 100-yard games in 2 years receiving. That's awesome. The 75-yard play to open the season on offense, incredible. We'll remember that for a long time. Boise State catch. We're going to remember that forever. That was an incredible catch and a huge win this season. 15 total touchdowns in 20 games. That's a fantastic ratio, right? He might be in the playmaker Mount Rushmore at receiver for BYU.
Sure.
Overall, playmaking, Glenn Kozlowski, Reno Mahe, Cody Hoffman, Austin Collie.
Mitch Matthews against Nebraska.
Mitch against Nebraska in that particular game. Unbelievable play, right? Last 20 years, he's one of the top 4, I would say. Overall, historically, I don't put him in the top 4, and there's nothing he can do in the last 2 games. Now, if he comes back next year and he's here for 3 years, now he's got a chance perhaps to crack it.
Yes.
But probably not. Probably not, which I'll get to my Mount Rushmore in a moment.
He's on the Independence era Mount Rushmore of BYU football.
Yeah, that's not a thing we're doing, but I guess we are right now. Yeah.
We could qualify it
of
there.
Receivers?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, with Cody Hoffman and Mitch Matthews.
I spent all my time this morning thinking about all time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I say that in jest as we look at BYU winding down in the Independence era.
Yeah.
But Puka Nacua, even if he has all-world performances against Stanford and comes down with a huge game-winning catch again against Stanford and does something special in the bowl game, there's just not enough material there to earn a spot on BYU's all-time Mount Rushmore of wide receivers. You just have to have 3 to 4 years of playing consistently.
By the way, I had an AirPod in the whole time and no one told me.
It's okay. I thought you
I was watching the World Cup and I forgot.
I thought you had your AirPod in because you wanted to multitask.
That's my bad.
Which is totally fine.
Hold on. Yeah, go ahead and make that deal. What in the world am I doing?
No, this is what you do. What people don't know is you have your AirPod in. When I start to answer, you just turn on some music so you don't have to listen to me.
It's noise canceling. I'm like, just tell me in my right ear, which has an earpiece, and oh my gosh.
You're going to listen to my opinion whether you like it or not.
What in the world did I just do?
No, there's nothing that Puka Nacua can do in 2 games to ascend to the Mount Rushmore of BYU football wide receivers. We need more. If he decides to come back for another year and throws down a 1,300-plus year with 10-plus touchdowns, then he's in the conversation. I don't even know that would put him there.
It still doesn't.
But now he's a top 10 receiver and making his way up those ranks. But it's okay. It's okay. Puka Nacua can be an unbelievable playmaker, and when it comes to the ability to make a big catch, he can be one of the best in that regard.
That's why I put him on the playmaking Mount Rushmore.
But if we're talking about career numbers,
just didn't do enough.
Just not enough time, and he was injured for a good deal of the season, had to miss a handful of games.
And that's part of the conversation. That's a tricky, slippery slope. If you're like, well, if they were healthy, it's like, well, if Taysom Hill is healthy the whole time, are you saying he's on par with McMahon, Detmer Young? Because I'm not. He maybe enters the B conversation. Hill, to me, is in the C conversation among that group of quarterbacks.
That's how good the quarterbacks have been.
But he's not even in the B, right? Zach Wilson entered the B level with that 2020 season.
Puka Nacua would need to be an All-American next year to now move toward the conversation. He would need to have an Austin Collie junior season type year.
He's great
to go there,
but hasn't done enough. Okay, you ready for the Mount Rushmore?
All right, give me your Mount Rushmore.
Okay, it depends what you value in this conversation. Okay, career, single season, what role does health play, playmaking ability, athleticism, yards, catches, touchdowns? I did the latter. Like if you put it up over several years, that's high in my book. So I picked the only 4 guys that are top 10 in yards, catches, and touchdowns.
I know. Oh, I'm glad you're gonna go with somebody that deserves it.
Austin, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. Austin Collie is the greatest receiver in BYU history. No questions asked. He did what he did in 3 seasons.
3 years.
Cody Hoffman's #1 in all 3 of those categories. He's #2 all time. Eric Drage is right there as well. And Phil Odle. You may not heard of Phil Odle, but for 35 years he owned all the records. 25 years. He owned all the records till Matt Bellini showed up and helped smash some of those, and then those kept getting broken. Honorable mention, Margin Hooks, Matt Bellini, Mark Bellini, Mitch Matthews, Glenn Kozlowski. Puka's in that conversation. Those 4 guys are the guys. The top 2 are clearly there. Eric Drage, clearly there. And then Phil Odle led BYU in all those categories. 5'11", 190, just did tremendous work in the 60s with Virgil Carter.
Yes.
And after Virgil for a year. Phil Odle, you may not have heard of him, but on this program, we remember those guys like Mel Hutchins and Roland Minson and everybody from every era. We try to honor the legacy of those guys. Like Bill Russell isn't a lesser player in the NBA history.
Certainly not.
He is right there, even though it was in the 60s, right?
He did what he did in 3 seasons. 65, 66, 67.
The original Austin Collie.
Exactly.
Phil Odle.
That's exactly right. And in an era where college football was dominated by the run game, and this was pre-Lavelle Edwards and his pass-happy attack when he took over as the head coach in the early 70s. Yeah. This was 5 to 7 years before that. Phil Odle broke some barriers at BYU in the receiving category, got drafted by the Detroit Lions, played in Detroit for 3 years, and he was BYU's first great receiver. He deserves to be on Mount Rushmore. In fact, I had him 3rd and Eric Drage 4th. I mean, we're, splitting hairs.
So you have the same 4?
Same 4.
Oh,
Austin Collie, Cody Hoffman, Phil Odle, #3, and Eric Drage at #4. It was Eric Drage who finally broke most of Phil Odle's records at BYU. When you do what you did in 3 years from 65 to 67, come on.
Freshmen couldn't play in the NCAA for
Phil Odle made our top 100 BYU football play show a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah. We tried to get Phil in the show.
He deserves to be there.
We respect Phil that much.
I had a hard time deciding who I would make the 5th. I'm like, who's the first guy off the mountain? Because that's where it gets really, really interesting.
I have a name.
Margin Hooks, maybe?
Margin Hooks. Here's why. He is 5th in catches and yards in BYU history.
He wasn't a big touchdown guy. He had 14 career touchdowns.
He's 20th in BYU history.
Yeah, and Phil Odle had 24 touchdowns in his 3 seasons.
Machine.
Right? So
Virgil's main target.
All of the guys on Mount Rushmore, again, were so complete and had full careers of either 3 to 4 years. Austin Collie's the clear #1. And that's taking nothing away from Cody Hoffman and Drage and Phil Odle. Austin Collie was a special, special player.
If he comes back another year, no one touches that maybe ever. Like maybe ever.
He had over 1,500 yards receiving his junior season.
Yeah, he was awesome.
That is unbelievable.
He was great.
So I really had a good time looking back on the history and the numbers. When you get down to like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that gets fun. And it just made me think, like, we need to do top 10 shows for all of the individual positions over the summer. We need to do it with running backs, wide receivers, quarterbacks, linebackers. We need to do this.
Let's not do it with kickers and punchers, but yeah. And so, listen, if Puka had been here 4 years and he had put up numbers and been healthy,
all-timer,
he could have cracked that. But it takes a lot. Like, you've got to be awesome. By the way, there are more great tight ends here than receivers. This school has had tremendous tight ends. Like, when you look at a lot of those numbers,
the receiving category,
it's a lot of Dennis Pitta,
yes,
although we don't have time for him today. It's a lot of Chris Smith. It's a lot of Gordon Hudson. All these guys. Like
Clay Brown.
Clay Brown might be the best of them. Like Gordon Hudson, probably the best. But like unbelievable stuff from these guys. I would argue the tight ends have been a stronger position group historically at the top than the receivers here. And typically you only have one on the field.
That's saying something
that says a lot.
When you are a quarterback factory school, that the tight ends are right there, if not greater, as a collective group all time than BYU's wide receivers.
It says a lot about BYU's ability to recruit a certain position.
Absolutely.
Because, let's be honest, a lot of these guys are like possession receivers, if you will. But they went and made a lot of plays. And they were in big games more than that. And Austin Collie was an NFL guy. Cody Hoffman, disappointingly, wasn't much of an NFL guy. I don't think he played in an NFL game on the 53. Maybe he did sparingly.
No, he didn't. He got into the
practice squad,
and
which was a bummer because Cody was like one of the greatest ever. I have number 2. You do too. Drage, not much in the NFL. Phil Odell, a little bit in the NFL, right? BYU hasn't had that guy, unfortunately.
So I was thinking about the apex.
Although Austin would have without the concussions. Like he was leading the NFL in receiving yards and touchdowns and catches.
He was
like 6 games in with the Broncos until he got a concussion.
He was a rookie star with Peyton Manning. Went to a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Sorry, with the Colts.
Yeah, so like the apex mountain moment for each of these receivers. Thought, okay, well, for Austin Collie, do you have a singular moment where you think, okay, that was Austin's greatest moment?
Colorado State, one-handed
catch down the sideline.
He falls down.
All right.
Utah State.
Same thing? Same type of deal?
Fends the guy off with the left hand, goes like so many.
Okay. Then Eric Drage,
Notre Dame,
97-yard catch against Utah for Eric Drage.
Longest pass play in BYU history.
Unforgettable moment.
Yep.
The play we had in the top 100 from Phil Odell was a game winner in a closely contested game.
I don't remember who or
his apex, but I want to say it was like Colorado State or something like that. Anyway, an important game in a WAC championship clinching scenario, like a really, really important game. And then Cody Hoffman, the catch against Georgia Tech, where the defender is just draped on his back and dragging him down, his pass interference, and somehow he catches the ball flying directly over his head, like Willie Mays style, right? Just cradles, an incredible catch. They all have like these unforgettable moments.
Yes.
And I love that's part of the conversation as well. Puka's is obviously going to be the Boise State catch.
Boise State, it's his ability to just run the ball on jet sweeps. Just got a text from someone important that said, hey, where's Kaz? Kaz is on the playmaking Mount Rushmore, and he should be honorably mentioned as well.
His moment
he's in the honorable mention
was in the
list
national championship game.
Yes.
Catching that pass from Robbie Bosco in the back of the end zone where his teammates joked that Robbie was just throwing it out of bounds, and Kozlowski happened to be there and bail him out and catch a touchdown.
No, Kaz is all over this thing. Absolutely.
Yes.
No. He's not in the top 4. But
he's got a case
right
to be like number 5 along with Margin Hooks.
He's right there. Absolutely. Playmaking top 4, Kaz is on that Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. I'm trying to think who else would we put on the playmaking
because he tried to kiss me on set, I put him down low. he would have been firmly 5th. But now he's 11th. You know, I just wasn't ready for that, I guess.
Okay, another name I do want to mention that maybe kind of glossed over a little bit is Mark Bellini.
I put Mark in my honorable mention.
Yeah, Mark Bellini had a great career.
Let me give you.
He was a touchdown machine.
Let me give you a number here, okay? So I combined okay, what's your rank in catches, yards, touchdowns, and what is that total? Okay, Mark took 6th in that.
Yes.
Okay, he took 6th in that. Incredible. Like Mark might be the most underrated player, receiver.
I was just going to go there. Maybe most underappreciated receiver.
Because we think of Matt first. Matt was
a running back who happened to play like split wide receiver. He was kind of like a hybrid running back receiver.
He has like 2,600 receiving yards. You're not a running back.
But he's listed as a running back?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah,
so the Bellini brothers, they're the best brother tandem.
Puka, Samson's like, what about my 1 year and my Utah catch? Although Samson didn't have the numbers, but yeah, I feel you.